In this week's devotional, we are looking at Romans 12, verse 18. Paul said to the church at Rome, "If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone." Now, the natural question that arises from this passage is, how do we live at peace with someone that strongly disagrees with me over a matter that is not really essential to salvation? Paul dealt with this problem in both his Corinthian and Roman letter. The root of the problem was the new Gentile believer who was being converted and brought into the church from paganism. They easily and eagerly accepted a simple gospel with none of the Jewish traditions embedded into it. However, the Jewish converts brought their traditions and scruples into the church as requirements for all believers. These Gentile converts would have none of it. Disagreement and disunity soon followed. Paul knew that it would take time to erase the differences, so he laid down some very important principles to teach believers how to disagree on non-essentials and still maintain unity in the church. Today's church is not dealing with these identical issues, but we are always faced with certain gray areas. Some things are wrong because the Bible condemns them. Some things are right because the Bible commands them. But there are numerous gray areas that are not right or wrong for every person. It is generally in these areas that believers become divided. One must exercise one's own conscience in such cases, and not every conscience is enlightened by biblical knowledge or saintly maturity. So, how do we handle the disagreement that follows? We need to follow the same principles that Paul gave these early Christian converts. First, he said, keep the welcome mat out. Paul opens and closes with the strong imperative, receive one another. Welcome one another. Never cut your brother off. Never erect barriers between the two of you. Keep reaching out in love and acceptance. You don't have to see eye to eye on everything to exercise love and acceptance. Secondly, he said, be patient. A man's heart cannot rejoice in what his head rejects. You must understand that just because something is clear to you doesn't mean that it's clear to your brother. Nor should you expect your brother to act upon something he cannot understand. Paul understood that every man has to be fully convinced in his own mind before he can move beyond certain practices that he has viewed as wrong, even if in reality they are not. For that man to act against his present knowledge is to offend his conscience and to commit sin. Third, exercise love. It will help you see the big picture. Love weighs the issues in the light of eternity. It understands that the kingdom of God is not meat and drink. It is willing to make whatever sacrifices are necessary to help someone along. Paul chose to deny himself many of life's externals because he knew that it was the eternals that really mattered. This can only be done as you live life through the power of Calvary love. Fourth, remember, it's not about you. Authentic Christianity is others-oriented. It motivates one to seek another's well-being as much as one would seek his own. The Christian should not guide his conduct by merely what he is free to do, but by what will edify and build one another up. Let no one seek his own, but each other the other's well-being. So, what do you do when you don't agree with your brother or sister? Well, I suggest you follow Paul's advice and pray that you have the power of holy love that will enable you to say to your antagonist these words that Abraham said to his. Let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, for we are brothers.